Alrighty, this is the Unit 2, Part 2 study guide. So, study guide. Alright, which is the best name for A? So, A is just straight up pointing at a point. Which is the best name for B in the diagram? B is a line. Now, when it comes to quadrants, you should go ahead and just number them. 1, 2, 3, 4. Remember, C is for correct. So it's pointing to, C is over here pointing at quadrant 4. And then which axis is the best name over here? You can also go ahead and just do your axis. This is X, Y. So D is pointing at the X axis. All right, graph the linear function. We use y equals mx plus b for this. So the first thing I do is put y-intercept equals, slope equals, rise over run equals. All right, so my first thing that I grab is my positive 2. So my y-intercept is a positive 2. I go to the y-axis to positive 2. Then I have a negative 3/4. I put that negative up top. So that's saying that I fall 3, 1, 2, 3. I always, on my first point, run to the right. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then I do the opposite. I go up 3, left 4. And I connect my dots. That's it. All right, 6. We just need to go ahead and fill in the table. I walk to the left 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I walk to the left 5. I don't get to go up or down, so 0. B, I walk to the left 1, 2, 3, so negative 3. Then I get to go up 1. C, I walk to the left 1, just 1, so negative 1. And then I go down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's a negative 5. D, I go to the right 1, so 1, up, just kidding. I was thinking the point was where D was, but it's actually on the, so for D, I don't get to walk anywhere, right? I have to stay there, so that's 0. Then I go up 1, 2, 3. E, I go to the right 1, 2, 3, 4, so that's a positive 4. I go down 2, so negative 2. And then finally F, I go over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, a positive 6. Then I get to go up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Remember, all your values, so in quadrant 1, all your x's are positive, all your y's are positive. Quadrant 2, your x's are negative, your y's are positive. Quadrant 3, your x's are negative and your y's are negative. And then in quadrant 4, your x's are positive and your y's are negative. So that's a good way to check your points as well. All right, which table matches the function? All you need to do is take this y equals 6 minus x minus 6. I don't know if I just said that backwards. And you plug in your x values. Okay, so let's just bring that over here. So y equals negative 4 minus 6. Negative 4 minus 6 is equal to negative 10. That matches up. So now I try my negative 2. Y equals negative 2 minus 6. Sorry, I had a brain fart for a second. Negative 2 minus 6 is negative 8. That is not negative 8, so that doesn't work. Let's go to the next one. Y equals, I'm just plugging in my x values here. Negative 4 minus 6 gives me a negative 10. That does not match up, so that doesn't work. Y equals, I'm going to negative 4 minus 6 is negative 10. That matches up. Y equals negative 2 minus 6 is negative 8. That matches up. And y equals 0 minus 6, which is negative 6. That matches up. So that's going to be my answer. Just in case, I'm going to go ahead and try this one too. Y equals negative 4 minus 6. That gives me a negative 10. That does not match up. Which graph matches the table? So I take these points. This is negative 8, negative 1. this negative 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, doesn't go on the graph. So I'm just going to skip that one for a second. I'm going to go to negative 4, negative 2. So negative 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, negative 2. That's on the line. So I go to the next point, 0, negative 3. 0, negative 3. That's on the line. 4, negative 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, down 4. 1, 2, 3. All right, so that one's looking good. So I'm going to keep it. So I'm going to go back to negative 4, negative 2. Negative 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, negative 2. That point is not on the line, so that doesn't work. Okay, go to the next one. Negative 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, negative 2. That's not on the line. That doesn't work. Last one, negative 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, negative 2. That's not on the line. That doesn't work. Therefore, my answer is A. Which graph matches the function y equals 2x plus 1? So this is in my slope-intercept. So my first point is my b is a positive 1. Then my slope is equal to rise over run, which is equal to 2 over, and remember, if it's just a whole number, you put it over 1. So I look at my graph, and the first thing I want to look for is my b is a positive 1. So let's do green. So that looks good. Here my b is negative 1, so that's not good. Here my b is negative 1, so that's not good. Here my b is a positive 1, so that's good. So I'm down to at least a 50-50 by knowing that my y-intercept is a positive 1. Then I need to do slope. So I rise 2, run 1. All right, that's not on the line. So if I go over here, I rise 2, run 1. Rise 2, run 1. Rise 2, run 1. Fall 2, left 1. Yeah, those are all on there. So the answer is D. Which equation passes through all of these points? So all you need to do is take each ordered pair and test them out. So for instance, I'm just going to start with negative 1, 3. So my y, it's x, y. So my y value is 3. My x value is negative 1 plus 1. All right. So half times negative 1 is negative 1/2 plus 1. Negative 1/2 plus 1 is a positive 1/2. 3 equals 1/2. That is not true. Therefore, that's not a possible answer choice. Okay, go to B. Y equals 3, x equals negative 1. Okay, negative 2 times negative 1 is 2 plus 1. 3 equals 3. Okay, so that checks out. So now I go to my 0, negative 1. So 1 is my y, so 1 equals negative 2 times 0 plus 1. Negative 2 times 0 is 0, and 0 plus 1 is 1. That checks out. And let's do 1, negative 1. So my y value is negative 1. My x value is 1. Negative 2 times 1 is negative 2. And negative 2 plus 1 is negative 1. Negative 1 does equal negative 1. So that checks out. So my answer is B. I can go ahead and just try these real quick. So let's just plug in the first one. Y is 3. X is negative 1. Negative 1 plus 1 is 0. 3 does not equal 0. And last one, 3 equals 2 times negative 1 plus 1. 2 times negative 1 is negative 2. Negative 2 plus 1 is negative 1. 3 does not equal negative 1, so that doesn't work. Which graph is not a function? Remember, when we are given graphs, we do the vertical line test. So I'm going to pretend like that's my pencil. Oops. So if I use this and I go all the way over, it only hits at one place at all the time. So that one is a function. Take it over here, it's only hitting at one time every time. So that is a function. Same thing with C. The problem with D is these two guys. You see how these two guys are lined up? So when I put my pencil, they hit at the same time. So that is not a function. Okay, if you see domain or range, you should write doxray. This helps you because the range are your y values. So all you need to do is go through and highlight the y values, right? Because each point is x, y. So it's the second. So all I see is 1. So my answer is B. Which point passes through the line? So once again, this is just plugging in. My y is 4, right? This is xy. My y is 4, 1/4 times -8 minus 2. Okay, so I'm going to have to use my calculator. 1/4 times -8 is -2. -2 minus 2 is -4. 4 does not equal -4, so that doesn't work. Let's go over here, xy. My y value is 3. 1/4 times -4 minus 2. So I use my calculator. 1/4 of -4 is -1. -1 minus 2 is -3. 3 does not equal -3, so that doesn't work. Plug in this one. This is x, this is y. Y is 2, x is 0. 1/4 times 0 is 0. 0 minus 2 is -2. 2 is not equal to -2. And last but not least, my y is -1. My x is 4. 1/4 times 4 is 1. 1 minus 2 is -1. -1 does equal -1, so that is my point. Not inequalities. Remember, my inequalities are these and these only. So that's not an inequality. That's not an inequality. That one and that one. This is an equation. That's an expression. Both of these are expressions. And this one's also an equation. Okay, before we graph, the variable has to be on the left. So I need to rewrite this as m -2. The alligator's eating the m, so the alligator needs to eat the m. Okay, so since it's it doesn't have that equal sign under there, it's going to be an open circle. So it's not A and it's not D. I've already got it at a 50-50. Now, since the variable is on the left, I can follow this arrow, and my answer is B. Okay, so first I need to start by solving this. So the opposite of dividing is multiplying. I draw my line. Stop! Did I divide or multiply by a negative? No. So I keep my inequality. -4 times 3 is -12. Now I'm going to place all these values and see if they're true. I'm going to start with -18. Is -18 greater than -12? No. Remember, the alligator wants to eat the bigger number. Now I go to 0. Is 0 greater than -12? Yes. Is -3 greater than -12? Yes. If you don't believe me, draw a number line. Is 45 greater than -12? Yes. Is 6 greater than -12? Yes. Is -21 greater than -12? No. So those 4 and those 4 only. Solve and graph the inequality. I subtract 18. I keep my, I can just do it here. I keep my inequality. 11 minus 18 is a -7. I'm going to have an open circle at -7, and then I get to follow that arrow because it's on the right. Remember to be dramatic. Okay, here I add 5. So I get to keep my inequality. -6 plus 5 is -1, and then I need to flip it. So here's -1. He's eating the -1. It's got that equal to under there, so it's a closed circle at -1, and then since the variable's on the left, I can follow the arrow. Multiply both sides by -2. If I divide or multiply by a negative, I flip my inequality. So I'm going to use this one. -8 times -2 is a +16. And last one. I subtract 9. I keep my inequality. That's -21, and I divide by 3. I keep my inequality again, so that should be -7. So y is greater than or equal to -7. Okay? All right, study hard. Good luck.